computer. There we go. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Um, Happy Friday Eve to everybody on the call. I appreciate you for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world because this is virtual. Could have been spending your time anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us. And to me, that lets me know that you are either looking to transition, break into the cyber, and you're serious about it because obviously you registered because we had a couple people registered, but they ain't here. Um, and you're here, you're spending time with us. So we're gonna kick this thing off. I'm going to moderate as well as, give my expertise and resources and insight. So T, go ahead and kick it off and tell the people a little bit about yourself, and I'm gonna set a timer to keep us honest. Go on, go ahead, brother. I'm gonna swing it to you.
Sure. So I'm Torrance Reed. I'm the founder and CEO of Cybersecurity, which is a consulting firm that specializes in helping startups, nonprofits, and government agencies achieve IT compliance. That's what I do when I clock out. When I clock in, I'm doing vulnerability assessment and threat management for the Defense Health Agency, which is a collection of all the medical arms of all the military arms, right? So I've been in IT for about 20 years. I love technology. If it gets power and an IP address, I can maneuver through it. Um, I love cyber. Sometimes I end up on these calls and the calls will be an hour and a half long and no one felt like, oh my God, I had to stay on this call. So I just think I found a unique way to relay cyber and convey it in a live manner, in a normal manner, which is that cybersecurity is your life. Cyber is life. So that's me.
Where you go to school at, T? I'm just asking these questions.
Um,
Like
let's see. Where I go to school. Let's see. I like long walks to the bank. No, I'm kidding. I went to. No, I do like going to the bank. I went to North Carolina A&T State University, which is in
Hey,
Greensboro.
hey, and T.
Yes, it's a lot of us in the DMV area. Um, I moved to DC. I actually, true story. I came up here for a New Year's Eve party. The energy and environment up here was just so crazy that I didn't go back to North Carolina. I went back to get my stuff. True story. I came up here, I was here for the weekend. I was like, man, I really like it here. At that point in time, the technology job scene in Mid-Eastern North Carolina was basically non-existent. And so I was working for Volvo in a tech department, and I went back home and packed up all my stuff, sent my resume to like 50 people. I had 10 interviews set up. I didn't even have a job. I was just like, the Lord said, go, and I went. And so I've been living in DC since 2010, and I've been doing either cyber or infrastructure engineering for the government since 2011.
Can you let the people know why you really stayed for so long in DC?
Let's see. Why did I really stay? No, I met my wife while I was here, right? And um, I probably would have jettisoned to somewhere else, right? Technology is everywhere. Like if I didn't meet my wife, I would have been working in the Facebook cybersecurity department, living in the beach in LA somewhere, right? But no, from North Carolina, went to school for information systems. Um, I'm a diehard entrepreneur, and I picked the cybersecurity lane. And I purposely and consciously say that out loud because a lot of people feel like you have to fall into where you work at or what you end up doing, right? And this may be relevant to the tone of what we're talking about today. So one day I said, I need to figure out what facet of technology is not going to, one, be drowned out by the fact that it's so many people doing it. Two, what's the highest paying one? And three, which one in this area means I'm always going to have guaranteed advancement in pay or in my profession, right? It was a no-brainer that cyber was that, right? That was a no-brainer. So that's how I ended up here, and that's how I ended up in cybersecurity, because I was a systems administrator, right, for HUD, FDIC, VA, etc. Right? And if you live in this area and you're in technology, then you're in cybersecurity. And that just kind of smacked me in the face one day. And I was like, you know what? I'm in cyber. I'm not in tech anymore. This was like 8 or 9 years ago, maybe. And that's how it happened for me. That's how I got into cyber. I woke up one day and said, you know what? I don't want to be in technology. I need to pick one. And what matches up against what I've been doing for the last X amount of years. And if you do technology for the government, every task they give you every day anyway is up the chain, it's cyber related. And so I was like, yeah, this makes sense. So I'm a cybersecurity expert, and that's just that. And I just went from there.
Okay.
Right.
Well, you took up the whole 5 minutes that I gave you. I was
Hey,
saying,
you didn't tell me how much time was on the timer. You just said I'm setting a timer.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Now you're only giving me 5 minutes, but nah, it's okay. Thank you for that introduction. I didn't know that you left NC and basically never went back because of your wife. I didn't know that the whole time. So shout out to you for finding your queen. And you did definitely say some things that I want to pivot on after I give my introduction. But like T, like Torrance, my name is Dante Tyler, aka the Cyber Hygienist. Um, from the, I'm not 20 years in, but I'm 10 years in. Cybersecurity, actually like 9.5, if we being honest. I jumped into my first role on the help desk in 2014, working for DC government on a service desk, kind of really doing answering the phone, learn how to change a password and reset accounts. That's literally all I knew how to do on Active Directory. Didn't know nothing else. Um, Stumbled into tech in 15, got my Security Plus in an unconventional way that some people don't agree with, but at the time hey, it was my way in, which is I used a test dump of Security Plus 401. Basically studied a test bank with about 350 questions. And they pulled 100 or so questions from that test bank, and I was able to pass, right? So that opened up the door for me to get a clearance. You know, God has always had his hand on me. Thank you, God. One day somebody called me and gave me a clearance. I mean, it's literally how it went. I'm not making it up. Someone literally called my phone, was like, hey, are you Dante? Can you pass a background check? Do you have Security Plus? And then before you know it, I'm supporting the Department of Defense at the Pentagon. And then life just took off from there, right? I mean, I went from working mediocre jobs, Harris Teeter, Giant, summer camps, to making, $22 an hour, and exposure took me to the top. Unlike UT, I was never really fascinated by tech. It was just computer games. Didn't take things apart when I like a lot of my counterparts. They took apart washing machines and
I did that when I was little.
yeah, nah, never did that.
I
Never
tore it apart and made some walkie-talkies.
nope, never built anything, you know what I'm saying? I was never a tech enthusiast, or like that. Just I was one of those kids. I'm from Southeast. I was outside. We ain't even had no computer, you know? So it's like, what am I gonna take apart, right? So I stumbled into tech, by the blessing of God. And once I stumbled in, I never looked back, just kept certain up. I am a community college dropout, unlike Torrance, who, went to the prestigious A&T. I dropped out of community college after I realized, it's funny, I was supposed to be an electrician. I wanted to be a firefighter, but then I went to test college that doesn't even exist anymore. Went there for a couple of months. Ended up realizing that I was paying them $25,000 to give me a certificate that said I sat in the classroom for a amount of hours. That was all the certificate said, because as an electrician, you don't actually get anything like tangible. I mean, like you don't get a degree or a certificate, right? You have to put in a certain amount of hours to become a journeyman, basically under like a master electrician. He kind of, writes your hours, then you got to have classroom hours, then you got to join the union. So it was like a whole thing. And I was just like, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. But so I kind of pivoted, got that service desk job. Like I said, never looked back. But even now, looking back on it, I kind of not wish I would have stayed an electrician, but man, they make almost as just as much money as we do now, T.
They do.
As
All of the shop class jobs are making a resurgence, basically.
Basically, yeah. So that's how I definitely got my start. So I want to pivot now to just some career development, T. I know you mentioned that you did a role, you played your first kind of position or role, few roles were in IT, and I just want to get this one out of the way. Can you tell us the difference
Right.
between IT and cyber? Because I kind of get offended when people say, "Hey, you
We're
know,
the only one.
they send somebody to me. They like, yeah, he's in IT," and I just look at him with that. It's like you like,
So one of my business partners still does that to this day. And we've been working with each other for like 15 years at this point. And he pings me once a month, bro. Hey, I got somebody who needs a site. And I have to reply to him, man, I'm not in IT, man. Leave me alone.
yeah,
Right? I'm not IT anymore. But a lot of people don't understand the difference, right? Information technology and cybersecurity, right? So cybersecurity is actual a facet of security. It's the digital part of security because you also have physical security, right? You have locks, you have key cards, you have the turnstiles when you walk in a building, you have lights that illuminate a parking lot at night, right? Like all of these things are literally physical security. So cybersecurity is security of IT, right? Because it's not cybersecurity if I got a security guard standing at the front of the building. That's just regular security. So cybersecurity is basically, um, I say proactively, because there's a facet of cyber that deals with after things have happened. To me, cybersecurity is proactively protecting your money, data, and people.
nice.
Now, there are a lot of other definitions, right? There's a lot of other definitions on the internet and big information systems and computer words and et cetera, et cetera. But it really means putting things in place to protect your data, stuff people upload to your systems or things you download, your people, because cyber attacks have personal ramifications. They put people in harm's way. They cause threats to people's lives and your money. Hackers not trying to get into your system because they want the pictures of the building you building. Like they trying to get into your bank account.
I don't know. It's getting weird
Well,
out
unless you're the FBI, they might want your building schematics.
there. Getting weird.
But for the most part, they want to steal your money. So cyber is protecting all of that. The processes and procedures you have in place to protect those three things. What do you think it is, bro? That's what I think cybersecurity is.
I agree with you. Just piggybacking off of kind of what you said. People say IT, and I always say, even when mentees come up to me or just I'm having conversations with people at networking events, like, yo, I'm in IT. I'm just looking like, okay, well, what do you do in IT? I mean, it's such a broad spectrum of positions, technical versus non-technical roles, that I'm just like, well, okay, IT, like, are you in sales? Do you do database management? Are you a system admin? Do you face with a customer? So I always like to make that delineation when I'm speaking to anybody, to let them know, okay, do I have IT knowledge? Yes, I do. But I am in cyber, which which is an umbrella under IT. But to me, even that cyber has its own
Yeah.
got its own umbrella of different roles,
Right.
positions that you can, do. So I just always like to make that delineation between the two. So T,
Well, the good thing for people on the call is they're interested in cyber. So they've already decided they don't want to be in IT
well, we about to find
because
out. We about to find out because I'm about to ask them some questions right now. Actually, so this is a ask me anything. We are at the 10:20 mark. See, I'm keeping on time today, right? We are at the 10:20 mark. So if feel free to unmute, or throw your questions in the chat. But tell me why you want to break in cyber. It don't have to be a long spiel. I'm just curious to know some answers before we go into this next segment because I think that this is important, and I'm recording over here, and I'm going to chop this one out and make a YouTube short because I keep constantly seeing this, and I haven't heard anybody really speak on this. So if anybody wants to share why they want to break into cyber and what are the certifications that have been told to you to go and get to break into the industry.
not everybody at the same time. So Miley, I mean, I hope I'm saying that right. High demand job security compensation. Security plus network plus.
You know
Okay.
what?
So
She said exactly what I wanted her to say, right? Absolutely.
is she a plant? So is she a plant?
Huh?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I said she a plant.
Hey, go.
I'm kidding, bro.
Now, well, as y'all can already tell, that we not the ordinary tech guys who kind of like I consider that, I've been in this 10 years, and T, you can attest to this. We work with, I've been around some very introverted technical professionals who don't have many social skills. That's because they're constantly in a room with no windows and very little AC most times. They, so they spend a lot of time by themselves, and that can, isolate you. We all kind of went through that in COVID, but no, you're absolutely right. High demand and job security. I just wanted to highlight that there are 3.5 million cyber jobs unfilled right now, which is crazy to me, because there are so many people breaking into the industry. But we'll get into this a little bit in a few, actually. But I want to make sure we saying your name right. Is it Mahaley? Is that you think that's it, Sorens? See, because she Molly.
Molly.
Molly. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We got it.
I see it.
We know
Molly.
that. We know it. We
Got
got to
it.
pronounce that.
Got it. Got it. Well, Molly, you said exactly what I hear most people say, which is Security Plus. Net Plus. I think that those are great, solid, foundational certifications that go grab. But what I keep seeing, T, is everybody is racing out the Security Plus, and I'm not telling them not to. I'm not telling them don't go after the Security Plus. But then I always ask them, well, why are you going to get Security Plus? Then I would say 70-80% can't tell me why that they going to get it. But I know why they going to get it, because it's being pushed. And then
Social media made it.
I know, yeah, social media, you got the pretenders out there who trying to prey on people's innocence and want to offer these boot camps, these 6 to 8 week boot camps to get you certified. And briefly on that, just because you get the piece of paper does not mean that you qualify for the job. I love enthusiasts. Listen, I'm self-taught, right? So I'm not knocking it, right? But I just want to let you know, as a guy who has 9 certifications, all self-taught, never took a boot camp, never sat in a college class. You got to prove it after you get that certificate, and that looks like definitely getting your reps, creating a portfolio that you'll have to go into an interview, being able to keep training. But I'm trying to keep us honest on the time.
So let me speak to that just to give credence to that. You have 10 certs, right? I
Yeah.
have one. And we probably have I'm pretty sure you have more procedural and processing and knowledge of the fundamentals of the certs, right? I've been in the trenches for the last 20 years, like you said, actually doing the things. And so we almost ended up at about the same space. You went the cert route. I've been in the data, and I ain't saying you ain't been doing the technical things, but your route, there's the cert route and there's the get experience route. Like he's basically what he's saying. And what a lot of people do is say, I got cert, I don't need experience now. Right. And so you got to keep showing and improving, because the reality of it is your cert that's all the rave right now. This is the world we live in. In 45 years, people are going to be screaming something else about a different cert. Right.
I
To your
agree.
point, everybody's pushing it and screaming it right now.
No, I'm gonna tell you why they pushing it. It started back when DOD made the 8570 rule.
Right, 8570.
Right, and I'm gonna drop this in the chat. I want y'all to go look up this. Right, this will help you, Molly. 8570 DOD. It's IAM levels. So basically, DOD mandated because FISMA, Federal Information Security Management Act, had came out, and this was like a part of Obama administration where they notice that the government keeps getting cyber attacked, and they got to figure out a way to educate their employees to understand basic cybersecurity requirements. So they looked at CompTIA because they're one of the premier, if not one of the premier leaders that are in the industry, ended up adopting them and saying, hey, you know, this is a mandate. We recognize them. If you want to work on our contracts and be able to touch the network, you need to have this certification. And then they put a date on it and said, look, you need to go get it by then. So that's why people push the Security Plus, because it gets you ready for a Department of Defense or one of these cleared positions as a contractor or government employee, right? So I'm going to tell you, that's the main reason why people are pushing Security Plus. And even the ones who are saying that don't even realize that that's why they're pushing it. So definitely go check out those IAM levels.
So I have a question for Molly. I said it right that time. So Network Plus, Security Plus, right? Traditionally, the order is Network Plus, then Security Plus, right? Because the Network Plus provides foundational information and experience, usually while you're in a entry-level foundational tech job, right? Like ideally, a lot of help desk people go get their Network Plus, and then they go to a different group, which is up, and then they get the next cert. So what I will tell you with deciding what certs to use and when to get what and what to get and why, and I can only speak from my personal experience, right? When I first got into cyber, I was going to get my CCNA. That was everything. A Cisco certified networking associate. It was basically what you hear about Security Plus now. It was what you're hearing about Security Plus, but like 12 or 15 years ago. Like everybody was screaming CCNA. If you was in tech, you had to have it. I started studying for it. I changed my life. I built a little study area at home. I changed my work schedule. I ordered all these books, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so we'll talk to your experience or lack thereof, Molly, and we'll talk to you how to get some. But
see, you got
I realized as I began studying, I had to say to myself, I don't like this. I don't give a damn that the world is stuck on it right now. I don't like networking. So I had to go to my boss and say, look, I know y'all is pushing me to get this CCNA because it's on my performance review plan and all this other stuff, but I don't want to do this in life. And I don't care if it's all the rave right now. And I never went into networking. I can tell you anything you need to know about a network, an IP address, a packet, communications, etc. But I said, I don't like this. I don't like networking. I don't like those messing with those devices, right? So one thing I always tell people is what's left out is, what do you love to do? And to me, this is the most important part of anything I'm gonna tell you today. What do you love to do? Because
that leads right into
you
the
gotta
next
find
question. That's
you
good.
gotta find an intersection of. Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
No, you good, because I just want to get to the meat and potatoes. We at the 10:30 mark. Why the people really came here. But no, I agree. And Molly dropped in the chat. She says she has zero experience and she copped the Jason Dion Udemy course for Security Plus, right? I love that you already getting started, that you trying to learn. Piggybacking off of what T said. Oh, laptop almost fell. Picking back off of what you just said, T, in reference to people's interests. You know, everybody on the call, obviously you showed up here, either you are transitioning, want to transition, or in a role that that's IT, but you want to transition into cyber. What are your interests? T, if you could drop that in the chat, just like, what are your interests? Because I want y'all to be able to take the resources and things that we dropping in the chat and take it back soon as this session is over, and be able to make it applicable to what you got going on, right? Because we adding value and impacting lives here. But see, something I wrote down is, what are your interests? And when I ask you what are your interests, like, do you like solving problems? Do you like reading? Do you enjoy customer interaction, like customer care? Do you want to be customer facing? Communication, right? Are you a communicator? Do you enjoy communicating with people? Do you not want to communicate with people? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert, right? Are you a mathematician? This was a big one for me, because this is where the world is heading. We need more mathematicians, and I'm talking to myself really, because math is not really a super strong suit of mine. I just know how to count them dollars and see that direct deposit come in and know
Money and math is
that thing
different.
up. Pay Uncle Sam, you know what I'm saying? And the last one I put, are you a designer? Are you an artist? Right? Because all of these things go into you actually choosing, even, not just a role in IT, but even when you get to the cyber side, these are some questions you have to ask yourself. And then I say, once you kind of get an answer for those, then you can make a pivot and say, okay, I like incident response. I like sales. I like designer. So you know what? Cyber ain't really for me. It was just pushed on me. I'm actually a UX UI designer. Or I actually like making wireframes. Oh, you know what? I'm a mathematician, Dante. Let me do coding. And I'm gonna swing it back to you, T. You got about a minute and 30.
All right, bet. So first thing, what you said was all those questions you asked is the same questions I ask people when I'm doing their personal assessment when they join my accelerator. Same questions. Front facing versus back facing. The core root of you asking yourself before you get into cyber is, do you like talking to people or do you not? That's literally going to drive which type of job you pick. Do you want to deal with people every day or do you not? The second thing is, don't do this to get away from something else and go into something else you don't like. And we can talk later about how you find the intersection of your love, your passion, and your abilities, because in the middle is cash, right? Web developer. She asks, what's a good recommended role for somebody who loves web development? Every day I get an email about a web application security tester, right? There are jobs to test if I have injected malicious code into your pictures on your website. There's jobs that test this website was loading 10 milliseconds each click last week. Now it's loading 1 minute and 1 millisecond. What's happening now, right? The developer and the security engineer got to work together to figure out, why is my web server loading in 3 minutes instead of 1? So short answer is me and him can help either of you go deeper on figuring out loving doing this when you wake up, right? And not it being a job.
Okay.
Right? Because I love it.
No, I got you. I think that you hit the nail right on the head. The first question I would probably ask everybody, do you want to deal with people or do you not want to deal with people? Because I mean, that sets the tone for, okay, I'm going to be back end, I'm going to be front end, I'm going to be customer facing. And customer facing isn't always, that means that you're dealing with an actual customer, right? That could mean team interaction, a lot of team meetings, facilitating or taking tasks from a lead. So that's what definitely matters. There's some roles where you kind of, T as a system administrator, you kind of just kind of off by yourself on the computer, even if I look at system administrator now as like IAM, identity access management. I think that that's basically cybersecurity system admin where you're managing identities. But Molly did drop a question. She said, "What's a good recommended role position for someone that's currently a customer engagement specialist?" Customer service. So I dropped a link for Coursera. I found this link while preparing for this webinar where I basically I like the jobs that these entry-level positions for somebody with your background, customer engagement specialist. I would definitely ask you, do you like reading? Because if you enjoy reading, I think customer engagement, you could easily fall under being a security analyst or information analyst, right? Doing information assurance. I think that that's an easy entry level role that could get you in. See, you got something for?
I was going to say, that's what I was saying earlier, right? Like if she understands graphic designing and web development and front facing UIs and back end file uploads and all this other stuff, right? Penetration testing is good for her because everything comes in over the internet, over the web. There's web application security testing, right? There are web focused security jobs, right? So I won't fire them off, but if you need to ping one of us, Molly, we can give them to you. There's literally web focused security jobs that you would do great at because you know how to do web development, right?
She right. You right. Can I just say that I know we all seen the huge layoffs from these tech firms, Meta, Google, Microsoft, the big boys. I want to let everybody on the call know, and my recording right here, that don't let that deter you, right? 99% of American businesses are small businesses. You got to know this. Like there aren't that many large corporations in the world. I know that they do employ a lot of people, but they aren't the only people, right? Hear me out. You can go to look it up. 99% of the businesses in America are small business. People quickly forget that in America, small businesses actually are the backbone of this country. I think people forget that. And what we have to do, T, as we've now taken the torch from a lot of the people that came before us, is we have to do a better job. And this is one of the roles that I do. I think that Christina said that she's a security trainer. I go into organizations, particularly small businesses, and teach the importance of cybersecurity, and not even just from a standard of, oh, we need to have these technical mitigations in place, but also you got to put it in your budget. And that starts with, okay, we have to have a budget for somebody to be able to administer, monitor our systems, right? And they have to have that expertise. So T, I want you to just quickly talk about some of the skills and expertise that you need or that you should be aligning yourself with to help you not only have a piece of paper, but being able to match a skill set. And I'll give an example is one of the things that I'm pushing all my mentees to, and I'm even having to go back and learn this myself, T, or brush up on my skills, is Linux. Linux, 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 Linux. I'm gonna say it again, Linux. The entire United States naval fleet sits on Linux. Listen, the entire United States, the Navy, those big warships and the guns and the planes, all of it sits on Linux. So if you can learn Linux, you talk about job security, like Red Hat certifications, certified. Like you get one, two of them, I'm not against school, but you land a Red Hat certification, you good golden for life. All right, go AT is 1040. What are some of the skills you mentioned? Pen testing, that was hot. That's why I went and got my CEH back in 2017, I think. But I actually don't even do pen testing. I only been on maybe like 2 pen testing engagements my whole career. But just can you just briefly talk about how to align a skill set, not just any skill set, but that matches what's in demand now and what's going to be in demand in the next few years, right?
Two things for me come to mind: Linux and AI, and I'll speak to both of them quickly. You said Linux. During my accelerator, that is literally week 2 of what we discussed, because the world doesn't run on Windows, right? Like corporate America sees Windows, right? Like the world runs on Linux. All the things behind you, the stoplights, your power bill, your phone working, your groceries getting delivered, your car, anything you can think of that's your life is running on a Linux server. That's first. And the other reason that is so important is scripting. Now, if you don't know what that is, that means a small computer program that accesses a database to grab some information, right? Think a text file with 10 lines on it. Scripts can execute things in a millionth of the amount of time that you can do as a user clicking a button on an interface.
Can you give them a
And
quick
so
example of a script, like just in
I'll
like
give you an example.
as simple
I'll give
as
an
you can get it,
example.
simple as you can get it.
Simple as I can get. So I worked at the FDIC and I was resetting passwords, like you said before. I had to reset the password for everyone that was in the southeastern region that hadn't logged in 30 days. I would have had to click through the interface and look at everybody's last login date. It was 27,000 people in the system. That would have took me 4 weeks to only doing that. I typed in 10 lines of code and hit enter, and it gave me the results in 45 seconds.
That is the power
So
of Linux. I want you to take what T just said in and understand that is, I'm even having to go back. I'm 10 years in and brush up on this because now as I'm security engineer, security officer, security manager, I'm having to learn SOAR tools, right? So security orchestration, automation response, right? These are helping professionals like myself being able to fight cyber attacks and bring them down, right? Being able to give a piece of code or a line of code using Linux to make my job a lot simpler or easier. So definitely, T, we spot on there with the Linux. I know we at the 1042 mark. So what I want to do now is just talk about don't be afraid to take an internship, right? I know I got so many people. Oh, I got a security plus. I'm looking for a remote job. You killing me. You killing me right now. You don't have no experience. Why would they give you a computer and send you home by yourself? What are you gonna do if
security plus the security plus with no experience only matters when you're sitting in the boardroom and somebody asks you to recite the 3 lists of something, right? Like it matters when you get to the educational thing. But if you can't actually go on your computer and type in the stuff to add a SSL certificate to a server, then nobody care about your security plus.
Look, if you can't SSH into that machine over there, run a scout tool on that tool at your desk, and then be able to get that report back from the scout tool, stig it, and then be able to tell me what vulnerabilities exist, then I don't think you should be staying at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it's
Right.
what I think is just tech and cyber has just been pushed mainstream, and everybody want to work at home. I'm not mad at you, but I came from an
Well, you
era.
can't do remote.
I,
If
I
you ain't
agree
been
with
doing
you.
this for 10 to 12 years, you're not gonna maneuver through it. And terribly, you are gonna miss the, hey Dante, did you do this last week? Yeah, I clicked here when I ran the scan. Oh, bad. I clicked here. And so for the next 10 years when I'm at home, I click on the right space. But you never get that if you learning and starting from at home, right? As far as internships, quickly about that. You got a house. That's your own internship. Every single person on this call has a router in their closet that Verizon gave them. You can literally go look on the back of it. It has a URL and password for you to sign into it. Yes, the thing in your closet, that's the reason why you're looking at Netflix. You can get on it on your computer and mess with it and see how and why it's working. And so the make projects at home. One of the things I did at home 10 years ago that catapulted me into being able to speak to understanding security networks was I separated my Verizon router in my house. My kids' tablets are on one network and my TVs are on another network. I didn't know nothing about what I just said the moment I signed into my router to do that. But then 2 years later, I'm on the phone call and I'm like, oh yeah, I had to separate the network at work and blah, 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 blah. And I was really speaking to what I did at the house. So your crib is your playground. It's technology running all through it.
Right.
Like learning at home.
Don't be like some of my peers using Wireshark and these because they got a lot of courses on ethical hacking. Don't do that to people because you could go to jail. You could definitely go to jail. Um, is you wouldn't want nobody doing it to you. So I use my powers for good. And I guess we're not even going to pivot in that direction of all the scary stuff out there. But quickly, I wanted to go. I know we got 15 minutes. I wanted to just go over some routines I wrote because people are always, telling me, or I've heard people say, gotta study, you gotta go get this cert, but they never tell you, okay, how I do that. Especially if you take the self-study route, right? If you're a self-enthusiast like myself, I don't know, I don't work well sitting in a classroom and watching a teacher talk and lecture all day. That's not how I learn. I realized that after high school, I like videos. I need to touch it. I probably need to talk to myself a couple of times. And one thing that's super big with me is reps. The guy behind me, big on reps, getting your reps in. Like how many times Kobe went to the gym 4, 5, 6 times a day. You do that over a period of time, you'll become an expert in whatever it is you're studying. But quickly, I'm just going to say, once you identify your interests, once you identify a career path, once you identify what certifications align with not only that your interest, your career path, but it's going to be in demand or has a upside of jobs in cyber, please check out that Coursera link. I'm just looking at my screen right now. Like there's a shortage of digital forensics examiners. You can make a bag doing that. Like easily you work for a court system and just look at data and just be able to tell a court system, well, you ain't snitching, but they hired me to do this. Look, they went into your backend server, took advantage of this vulnerability and started exfiltrating data. Here are the logs to prove it. It went from this IP to this IP, and then it jumped from here to here, right? Just kind of easy stuff like that.
And let me get my $10,000 for telling you that. Thanks.
Literally, because you're a subject matter expert at that point, right? So just jumping into a routine. I just, I just passed my CISSP back in December. And what I did, I locked in for 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? 6 weeks, 5, 6 times a week, 2 to 4 hours every single day. I put my phones, because I got more than 2. I put my phones in another room. And for 2 to 4 hours every single day, I read, I watched videos, and then I also I took a test every day for 6 weeks. That worked for me. Like that's all I know how to do is like when I'm getting a cert, I know how to block out all distractions. No, I can't go out this weekend.
I don't know how to do that.
No.
Probably why I got no cert.
No, I can't go to happy hour. Sorry, mom, I can't do that. Sorry. You got to be able to block out distractions and then get your reps in. T, what routines you got for these people?
I wrote down 4 good routines that are probably more thought reps, like thought routines to have, right? One is that you already in cyber. Whether you believe it or understand it or not. If you work in collections at Wells Fargo and every time you pick up the phone, you got to verify somebody's identity, like you working in cyber. your job title is credit specialist at Wells Fargo. The world is technology related. Everything is about verification and authentication and making sure that who said they is who they say they is. You're doing something cyber related every day at work. That's first. The other thing is your life is cyber. And so stop thinking about it as this silo, separate, off to the side thing. Like if you work in DC, you use cybersecurity 15 times in the morning before you even get to work. The stoplights are controlled by a firewall. Your badge that you get on the train is controlled by cybersecurity. Your car registration that the police check when they got behind you is on a server. Your life is cyber. You can't escape it. So if you think more about every instance that you're moving through, what's the cyber connection to this? What's the tech connection to this? You will realize that you're doing it. To his point, to what he just said, this ain't cool, right? Like you're trying to progress. You're trying to get some more knowledge. You're trying to get to that bag. So remove yourself from technology while you're trying to increase your technology, meaning put your damn phone down and you don't got to post every 20 minutes that you studying. Go somewhere for 3 months and damn study. That's what people do. I'm studying. So what? I mean, it's cool for motivation. I'm not saying don't tell people and share what you're doing, right? But you got to understand, because I've ran into people after I assess them, because you have to apply to get in my accelerator. After I assess them, I realize they're jumping into this cool pool right now because everybody's saying I'm getting into tech and I'm getting into cyber. And let me post that I just signed up for this study group. The real people in cyber don't give a damn about that. They're going to care that you can talk to me about authentication and verification. I don't, until you do it, I don't care, basically, right? So get out of tech while you're getting into cyber, meaning turn down your notifications. You might have to disable your Facebook for a week at a time sometimes so you can lock in. And those are more mental ways to lock in. And I think Dante gave the actual tangible ways, right? But I've seen that as I have trained people over the last couple of years that, well, this is the it thing to do right now. So I'm just going to do it, right? And that ain't gonna work, not in this field.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell them, but this was a ask me anything session, but I just wanted to take time. I wanted to use the last 15 minutes for y'all to ask us anything. So please shoot your questions. For the ones who can talk, feel free to unmute. We got about 8 solid minutes before we do the giveaway. So feel free to shoot. And T, let's keep our answers kind of short and concise. And anybody that wants to get with us after, definitely, T, if you could drop your email address. Feel free to shoot any questions that you have for either one of us on the same email, and one of us would be gladly to respond, provide any resources or information that would be, of grave benefit to you. So please, if you want to unmute or if you got questions, this is an Ask Me Anything session. So we're going to use this time in this portion for that. And if you don't, we could chat a little bit more, T, just about what's going on. I definitely want to drop a bomb on everybody that I got going on, me and my team. So we want to unmute. I appreciate you, Patrick Green, for joining. Molly, Jalecia, anybody want to unmute, you can. If not, you know what I'm saying, drop your questions in the chat.
Molly got a question. She went unmuted.
Yeah, I do have a question. The three positions or jobs that you mentioned, the information analyst, the assurance one, what certifications do you need for those roles?
Scissor.
You want to ask me? Okay.
I'm gonna say
what
scissor.
cert you need for IA jobs, basically.
What'd you say, T? I'm sorry, I ain't hear you.
Her question was, what certs do you need for IA, information assurance
Yeah, a
DX?
CISA, Certified Information Systems Auditor. I think that's a good one to get started. Please check out that Coursera link. It has great information as well as context on each one of those positions, but definitely a CISA, which will, like I said, enable you to understand how audits are done. Security Plus, I'm saying it because I mean it does. I'm not against it, but it's just people go get it and then it just sits on a wall and they don't do nothing with it because they don't know how to really use it. But Security Plus will definitely give you those foundational tools to understand information assurance. Um, I would say information assurance looks different. So you got like PCI DSS, which is a lane within information assurance. Like if you learn PCI DSS compliance, they have certifications that would allow you to be able to go audit Visa, go audit MasterCards because you understand the compliance standard. You got HIPAA, right? You got health compliance standards, right? That's under information assurance, and it's a lane. Healthcare is huge right now. It's something that why I'm going back and learning Linux so that I can be able to give these scripting languages and these hospitals better security so that they can help protect critical infrastructure. Another one within compliance is, you got healthcare, you have PCI DSS, which is kind of financial data. Then you also got the government, right? They got several different compliance standards that people who work in the government, and if you're doing business with the government, you need to have those sort of that you need to be able to meet those standards. So I think I don't want to say not one certificate is going to be superior, but you definitely want to align yourself with some standards and learn those things. I'll swing it to you, T. We got 4 minutes.
I would probably say, what do you plan on doing prior to information assistance? Because given the way this industry is set up now, unless you come out of school with a master's and 10 years in IA, you're more than likely going the vulnerability analyst or junior policy manager or some sort of entry level to governance job, right? Like you might be reviewing audits.
Let me throw that in there. Tech writer is another one. Molly, that one will get you in the door. Like people don't want to technically write. So if you are able to get a Security Plus or understand security foundations, be able to talk your way into a job because you understand the security behind it, what you will become is you'll start writing release notes as an example. You'll take what the developer gives you, kind of like organize it out, or be able to take requirements from a system admin, from a person, a security engineer like T, and be able to crunch what he told you about a bunch of technical stuff and put it in a way that a stakeholder or a business person can understand that all he just said was he upgraded the system. That's literally all he did. But T might be telling you, well, the configuration to the this port, we had to go and change it because the port on this system just, so you'll be able to take those, take those technical requirements and be able to type them up in a way that, like I said, a business owner or a stakeholder can understand.
So that's great you said that. My homegirl is a communications major. She is the press release manager for somebody that works in high cyber in the government, right? Like she's not in cyber, she's a writer. There are a lot of non-technical, non-server type jobs in cyber because there's a lot of everything me and him is talking about. The government released some 56-page manual for it, and everyone down the chain just got to follow the document. So there's a lot of not computer related stuff that is cyber, right?
Anybody else got a question? Oh, Molly, you can, if you have another question, you've been the most active today.
No, I don't have another question.
Okay. One last thing I would probably say is your journey is going to be your journey. Don't pay attention to my journey or Dante's journey. I went to school for electrical engineering. Now I do cybersecurity for the Department of Defense. In between, I worked on a parts order desk for John Deere, right? Like there's not a path or way this has to follow, right? You might do this and then something in the middle leads you to where you're going. But if you're understanding and paying attention to the fact that if somebody is giving you a paycheck, whatever task they're asking you to do can at some point be added to your list of cyber related things I had to do, then you'll understand that I might not go from vulnerability management to information assurance. I might go from vulnerability management to senior vulnerability manager. And you got to talk to the information assurance people, right? So just understanding you might have a weird route and weird path because every industry has so many different cyber capable jobs, right? Writing, there's cyber project managers. On one of the contracts I'm on, there's a cyber finance guy. He don't deal with none of the money except for the stuff that deal with our cyber software. So whatever you love, he loved crunching numbers. Imagine me and him trying to get him to do some packet scanning. He'd be like, get out of here, man. He's an accountant. He has a master's, MBA, all this stuff, but he get a cybersecurity paycheck.
Patrick just asked a question. Do you have any links or programs for labs for cybersecurity?
And
We're actually doing a giveaway. I dropped the giveaway task in the chat. So if you want to win 1 free month of cyber training, definitely enter yourself into the contest. But short answer for me, Patrick, is cyber.it. For me, that was monumental in my training because it allowed me to not download a whole bunch because they have in-browser stuff that you can do. They got tons of videos by vetted people. I like Udemy, but sometimes I feel like it's the Google of education. 50,000 courses can be very overwhelming. I'm not sure which one to choose. I don't even really know. So now I'm picking something now. No, respectfully, I'm talking to someone who talks like this, and then they're teaching me how to do cybersecurity, and I'm not sure how to understand them, right? So you want to get with an instructor that you understand, that you kind of resonate, and I think you can find that on Cyber because a lot of their instructors are vetted. They usually been around for a while. It's a lot of pretenders out there. I'm mad we didn't even get into one segment, and we might got to say this, T, about if you are going to go into a boot camp or you are going to purchase a course from somebody because you just kind of want to streamline your success, which I'm not mad at you for doing that. If you can afford to do it, please go ahead and do it. But how to vet a program from top to bottom, right? And understanding what you're getting from the program, because just because you signed up and they said they made all these promises, you still have to show up to the program. You still have to do the learning outside of the coursework, right? I don't think a lot of people talk about that. They just, oh, well, I go to school, and I'm like, well, you're only in school those 2 hours. What do you do outside of school, right? So it's just a mindset change. When I talk to my mentees, I'm just like, understand this, and then I'll be quiet, which is IT and cyber is a lifelong learning journey. I don't like when people get into this for the wrong reasons. I just want to get a high-paying job. I just want to be remote. All that is fine. I love it. But just know that next week, next month, there's something new coming down. There's a new trend, especially in cyber. There's a MO by these ransomware groups. You need to be abreast, especially and once you get into a senior role or you working for a small business, you're gonna need to be able to tell stakeholders, business owners, other people of the organization, hey, don't click this email. This is why. Now we got AI, deep fakes, right? I just gave a workshop in Puerto Rico about cyber hygiene against artificial intelligence and deep fakes, right? How to be able to, and you can't always do this by the eye. This is why you need technology to help fight back technology. That's big. I've been telling everybody, all the board execs, stop thinking you just go hire people. You need systems and tools in place to help fight other systems and tools. It ain't just machine versus man no more. It's like machine versus machine versus man versus machine too. Like we gotta double up. So just knowing that, you like these are things that you must have. So I think that we out of time. You know what I'm saying? I hope that people found real value in this, but definitely want to do another session like this, T, where we actually had more than a week to promote, because I think we dropped some gems on here, but we got the recording. Definitely going to get it chopped up and sent to you. And I guess we'll just stand by to see who follows the contest. And if they win it, they don't. You know, that's money I can keep in my pocket. I ain't got to pay for 1 month of cyber training. You know what I'm saying? So, but I appreciate y'all for joining. My contact information is in the chat. T's contact information is in the chat. Y'all can add us on LinkedIn. But I am late to a meeting where they pay me to be there. So I appreciate
Peace.
I appreciate y'all being here. Take it easy. Have a good day.